We're sitting here with Nasi Yeriel, Chief Prince Yeriel Ben Issachar, spiritual leader here at Congregation Bait D.C.B. How you doing, Prince?
I'm told. I'm well. You got to be well after coming down off a Shabbat like this.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
So, I just want to ask you a few questions just about your beginnings. How did you start in this way of life? What was your first introduction or your exposure to the nation of Israel and through whom?
Okay, basically, I started, my first introduction, I can't say it was a pleasant one because I was a young guy, maybe 11, 12 years old. And my sister, Shoshana Mikhail, she used to go over to the camp when it was located on Eastern Parkway and Ralph Avenue. You know, although my Ema didn't agree with it, but she used to go over there. So one time in the early 70s, I can't tell you how, I don't know all the facts, but she got shot. She got shot in the stomach. So my Ema, grabbing me and my brother by the hand, we go over to the camp. I guess so my Ema can find out what happened to her daughter. So when we get in there, we walk in and we introduced to a gentleman sitting at a table. A lot of gold. So, I never knew why my sister was infatuated with this stuff. But when I first walked in and seen Nasi Yaakov at this table, I was like, wow. So yeah, that was like 11 years old. I seen a gentleman, and we grew up across the street. The church was over there, so you really just seen gentlemen coming out of there with suits on, shaved and all that. But when you met these guys in these garments and these beards and earrings, it was kind of overwhelming. It was kind of Right. And that was in the early 70s.
So this was your first introduction to the nation, as your first contact with Nasi Yaakov and Israelites.
Nasi Yaakov, Chief Simeon, Chief YEHUDAH. Yeah, it was Prince YEHUDAH.
Right.
Yes, it was a lot of them there.
Chief
Kime, his brother Big Benaiah, Chief Benaiah. I mean, if it was 20 of them, it looked like 200 of them.
Right. So at what point in life did you decide, all right, after 11 years old, you meeting, Nasi Yaakov, your sister, what happened to your sister and so forth. What made you finally decide to say, I'm going to take this step? What opened up your eyes to say, I'm going to take this step and come and do this?
Well, I would have to say, like you said, at 11, 12, I wasn't really thinking about the Israelite thing. I was running with my friends. But it had to be around 15, 16 when my next, real introduction came. When I met a gentleman, Chief AMOZ. And sometimes people watch you when you don't even think they're watching you. And we talked a while, and I seen his wisdom and all that. But then one day, I was coming home from high school. We was all on the corner. And he told me, he said, hey, get in the car. He called me by my mom's name. Get in the car. So I got in the car with him, and we drove off. And the next thing I know, we're in front of Madison Square Garden. So he went in the garage. The Madison Square Garden. So we went in the garage.
Right.
We parked. We got gyros. And then we went in. So now I see myself sitting in the front row behind the New York Knicks bench, right behind Bill Cartwright.
Listen, dollar bill?
Dollar bill. And Chief Alma, like I said, he may have been watching. He see me coming home from high school. He knew my fascination with basketball. So when he took me to that game and I'm sitting there, and like I said, we right behind the bench, and I'm like, and he looking over me just saying little things. And I was like, wow, this is good money.
Right. And
that brought me, and you got to have a way to attract people to things in life, and if you see something somebody like, he took me there, and that got my ear. And then the wisdom started coming in when he dropped Proverbs to me, when he went into the Ecclesiastes, things like that. And I was like, okay, this is real.
So Chief Amos just I know you gave one example of him, but like, what did he mean to you in your life? Like, I know you gave that example, and he kind of got your eyes open. But can you explain other things that kind of, you know, when you looked at him or listened to him, was like, wow, this guy really.
His love for people, and like I said, he may have watched me to know that I love basketball, but then my eye turned on watching him and seeing how he dealt with people, how the love he had for people, and how he could see things, you know, and he wasn't just talk. You know what I mean? He tell you, hey, big man, hold on to this, you know. He looking at your sneakers and see that you got a little hole in your sneaker. His love for people, so he just didn't talk the talk, he walked the walk. You know what I mean? And I seen how, you know, when we started talking and I started going up to the camp, or that's when it had changed over to Buffalo and Sterling Place. When I started going there, you can see the movements and the motivation, and how during a feast day, you know, this is when I'm a little older now, I'm 17, 18, but I got a license. Look, y'all go to King's Plaza and go get some champagne glasses. This is for the like Passover and stuff. This is Chief Amos sending us to King's Plaza to get, you know, and the trust he had in us as young people. He said, yo, go here, but he wanted to see the feast always, you know, look great. He wanted to build up the name of Israel, and he didn't want nothing shabby. Right. He had us cleaning the camp, cleaning the mirrors, you know, and I seen how Nasi Yaakov and all of them loved him, and that was.
So at what point did you say, all right, this is, you know, because at that age it's still your eyes are open, your ears are open, but maybe you didn't make that full commitment yet. Like, at what point did you say, all right, this is, boom, I'm going to make this full commitment? At what point in your life?
Well, it came to the point just before I was going, well, when I was going to the Air Force. I sat down with Nasi Yaakov, I sat down with Chief AMOZ, I sat down with a lot of the brothers, and they was like, listen, when you go in there, big man, it said, trust in the Most High. It says, you know, tell everybody, tell them stuff up front, how you live. So when I went to Fort Hamilton, first thing, you know, I told them, I put on the paper, I'm an Israelite. You know, and when I got there, it was, you know, after basic training, first and foremost, they had the basic training. So once you got it into the settlement, and my first sergeant and them didn't want to give me Shabbat off. They didn't respect the way I ate. So I went to the rabbi, right? So once I went to the rabbi, now my commanding officers, is pissed at me, like, yo, why did you do that? Right. But it just it proved to me, and it showed me that when you trust in the Most High, hallelujah, you can get anything done. So right, they had to give me Shabbat off, because the rabbi was like a full bird colonel. So once he come down on you, I'm like, okay, things work through Father, and then you can see a lot of things. And then when I came back home, I seen how Israel was moving, and I just jumped right in, changed my name,
and that's where we at now.
That's where we at now.
So go ahead.
And the Most High never let me forget, you know, certain things. Like you said, even in my life, when I was, after coming home from the military, when I wasn't going that straight and narrow path, it took the Most High to get me through a court case to reaffirm that only I can do this for you.
That's right.
A court case where I was dead wrong, but right, the Most High showed me that it ain't your lawyer, it ain't this, it ain't that, it's right, me. It's me. So it affirmed it.
Hallelujah. So I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to add. I just wanted people to get introduced to you in my interview series, and I'm sure we will do more interviews in the future. So there you have it.
Hallelujah. It's just, you know, and I can just tell people we're going to have ups and downs in Israel. We got to keep our faith in the Creator and know that all things come from Him. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. TORAH.
And the